Obsession, betrayal, revenge. Some girls have all the fun. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer. Oh, the taglines.
In fairness, revenge is fun.
The taglines for this movie were all great. One of them was just like, hold your breath.
That's weird.
Oh, they're so dumb.
Why does it say she's dying to have fun? She's not dying.
That was the other one I almost went with.
If Swimfan was about zombie, that would be a good one.
Oh, it'd be a great sequel where she comes back to life.
Oh my god, yes. I'll kickstart that.
Setting up the page right now.
Alright. Welcome to Giving It, the world's first edema podcast.
I forgot it was edema night on the podcast.
This is I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan.
I'm kidding.
And this week we watched Swimfan from 2002 with multiple time returning guest Katey.
Hello.
Welcome back. This is an episode we've been trying to do for a long time after numerous fights on Twitter about whether this movie was good or not. Verdict is it is very good. Yeah.
Well, Kit, have you seen this before?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I was a fan. I was trying to convince Nathan that it was good.
I hadn't seen it, and I just assumed it was going. I mean, it's tangentially a horror movie, I guess, but like it was just one of those things. I was like, oh, this is just gonna be like Basic Instinct for like the 10 things I hate about you kids. It's just what it looked like when it came out. But yeah, it's pretty good. This is only like the second time I've watched it now, but yeah, it's real good.
The day we were originally, so I saw this movie when it came out in the theater, and it was amazing. And then it's been a while since I've actually watched it. And the day that we were supposed to record, like originally, I watched it 3 times, and then I watched it 2 times today. So it's still really good, but watching it as an adult, there's a lot of stuff that I changed my opinion on, so we'll see.
It's like we'll get into it because I got a lot of opinions on how any of this was even plausible or how she was able to get any of this stuff done. But yeah.
Cause she's Madison fucking Bell, that's how.
Hell yeah. We stand a queen. This movie was directed by John Polson, written by Charles Bowl and Philip Schneider, and the only 3 people I wrote down in it were Jesse Bradford as Ben, Erica Christensen as Madison, and Shiri Appleby as Amy, because it's really the only people you need to know in this movie. Other than, I guess, Dante, who is... So I'm pretty sure plays like a jock dude in like every other like teen movie, and plays like a weird nerd in this one for some reason, even though he's like 8 feet tall.
Yeah, and he was really confusing to me too, because in the IMDb he's listed as James DeBello, and then for who he plays in the movie it says Christopher Dante as James DeBello. So like, what does that mean?
Well, I have no idea.
Like, he doesn't play himself, so maybe he's not acting. Maybe that's just how he is.
Oh, wait, hold on. I think I know what it is. I'm going to pull it up real quick.
All I know is I wish he had been playing his Detroit Rock City character in Swimfan.
Yes. I I feel like
That's the crossover I want.
only other movie I think I've ever seen with him in it.
You've never watched Cabin Fever?
I did. I blocked it out though because I hated it.
Yeah, I hated it too. Unpopular opinion, I guess.
That's the only Eli Roth movie that I like.
It like I don't know. I only saw it the one time when it first came out. Like my opinion may change at this point, but it's not good. I did not like it. I don't know why. So on IMDb, if they like, because there's like Kia Goodwin is in this movie. She plays Renee, but it says as next to it says as Kia Joy Goodwin. So it's usually if they're like credited as a different version of their name, that's what comes up as like the as next to the character name.
Oh,
I don't know.
But is this the same?
Yeah, his.
Oh, I see. The B is capitalized in one way and not in the other way.
Yeah.
So don't get confused. He's the same person.
So this movie has insane soundtrack. Almost like last week's the last episode we did on the Rage Carry 2. Full on like late 90s, early 2000s like new metal, and then like weird fucking a hip hop song right in the middle of it. Might as well have just thrown a ska song in here.
I mean,
I wish it...
at one point it's not the first song, but one of them I wrote like Hootie and the Blowfish plays. It's not actually, but it's like really like that, and then all of a sudden it's like Saliva, and there's like a Bush song in there. I don't really know what they were going for.
Yeah, there's like 3 kind of name bands in it, and then a bunch of like shit that I've never heard of before. Probably no one's ever heard of since this movie came out.
You mean you don't like Llama?
Oh, I mean, that was one of the 3 I was talking about.
American alt-rock band, Llama. I've never fucking heard of them.
Yeah. Seven Dust is on it, that's all that matters.
I'm more of a Saliva guy.
I mean, I'm sure I have just for being in public spaces, but I don't know if I could ever pick out a Saliva song.
They had a few jams.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they have
Superstar?
like hits, but like everything in that period that was on the radio sounded exactly the same. So like, I don't know if I could pick them out from any of the rest of the bands that sounded exactly like them.
It's because everyone else was copying Click Click Boom.
That's right.
This podcast is over.
Oh my god, in case you guys were wondering what the plot keywords are, the first one is bitch.
Oh, the plot keywords on IMDb are like my favorite thing, because it's always be like the first one will be like bare feet, bare midriff, like
this one is
ankles.
Bitch, handcuffed woman, tied to a chair, handcuffs, love triangle.
Oh yeah.
And I don't really think that's like adequate to sum up what the movie is about, but
what that is like, I guarantee you if you actually open the whole thing, there's probably like 400 tags for it, but those are probably the most searched that come from this movie. Because people are creeps.
There's disbelieving adult.
Oh, I was like, swimming. Ooh, swim meet. Yeah.
See what movie? just
anyway.
Start your podcast on movies with swim meets.
All right, I'm gonna do that.
Boyfriend-girlfriend relationship.
I love it. IMDb tags are as good as the people that are just like, what cars were in this movie?
At 100%. Villainess played by lead actress.
What? Oh, God.
I think it's funny, this actress, if you go to her IMDb, her like cover photo is a picture of her from this movie promo. So she was really proud of herself.
I mean, which is weird because she's like a major character in Parenthood, which is like a huge TV show, and she's done like bigger things than this movie since.
This is the one that just really speaks to her heart.
She also like made some weird Christian movie, I believe, that she like directed or produced.
Oh no.
Yeah. Something about finding Christ. I don't remember how this movie starts. Oh yeah, it's got that fucking weird montage of like her playing cello and Ben and Amy making out in the car.
But then she's also in the car that drives by them.
Yeah.
So how is
Still
she
playing
doing
the
that?
cello.
Right?
I mean, she probably just pushed the front seat back far enough the cello fits in there too.
Oh yeah, and this is where you get the hootie music, and Ben's just like swimming. Which the thought I had this morning was like, how early does this guy wake up? Because he's like already making out with his girlfriend, then he's swimming, and then he's like home to have breakfast and talk to his mom.
Oh no, we need to talk
Jesus.
about Ben's schedule real bad because he's full-time swim practicing, doing full-time schoolwork, works in a fucking hospital.
Somehow,
Yeah,
giving medication. Like, he doesn't have any medical background.
Yeah, it's like those three things alone take up all of your day. How this kid is even standing up is beyond me. I can't even imagine having a job that was serious enough like a hospital while going to fucking high school.
Oh my god.
I was a fucking dishwasher and I was terrible at it in high school. Like, I can't even imagine having to like memorize people's fucking medication schedules and shit. Yeah, he's doing a bunch of shit.
He's going way above and beyond.
Practicing for a swim meet that's coming up that will have scouts there so he can get into, Stanford?
Yeah.
I think so.
Going to school with Zach Morris. That's where he was going to go. It's my only knowledge of Stanford. Even though I think he was then at the final was supposed to go to Yale and then just went to some weird state school with his fucking weird mullet RA in the college years. Ben's getting fucking harassed by a swim coach about his times. Swim coach is a guy that you see in like a shit ton of movies that I also could not tell you what movies they are.
I had that same every time I see this guy, for some reason I think that he was in Quantum Leap, and then I always look it up and it's not the guy from Quantum Leap. So
not Scott Bakula.
I don't know not him, but his like leap coach or whatever. He's always like, where are you going? You know? But I can't ever place him either. And then I looked through his like IMDb and I was like, I haven't seen any of this shit, so I don't know where I know him from.
He's like, I feel like he does like a lot of TV as kind of like just one-off characters.
Oh, he was in Clueless. That's why I know who he is.
He was like,
I know Alien Resurrection.
Yeah,
He's the general guy.
I feel like somebody else in this movie was in Alien Resurrection too.
I wish the entire cast.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Oh fuck, I forget. I was gonna say. Oh, when I was trying to find a Seinfeld connection in this movie, and I was like, oh, that dude was definitely on Seinfeld at some point, and he was not.
Huh.
Yeah, I was looking
Seems
for
like
one
a Seinfeld guy.
Yeah, he seems like he would have been in like an episode because he seems very like a New York type dude. But then like all of the kids, obviously, like this is 2002, they were like 10 when Seinfeld was being made. So like they weren't in it. So I was just like trying to check the adults, and he was the one I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure this dude was on Seinfeld, and he wasn't.
Well, we got an Addams Family crossover, so that's just as good.
After Ben's swim meet, he like meets up with all of his douchebag friends, and one of them, I think Josh, runs into Dante, who I wrote down could beat the shit out of every single one of these kids. Because again, he's like 8 feet taller than everybody in this high school. Because he was probably 35 when they made this. You get introduced to Amy, and her and Ben are talking about college next year, and he gives her this real dumb looking necklace.
It's ugly as hell, and she's like, oh my god, it's beautiful. And then you never see her wear it, so she's lying.
It's like straight up like New Mexico, like turquoise necklace. It's terrible looking. Like, I don't know why they didn't just go with just like, you know, like a tiny like diamond necklace or whatever. I'm guessing that was probably a necklace somebody on set was wearing on the day that they were just, hey, give us that real quick.
Oh,
We need a necklace, and they're just like, they just tossed it in there. And then she was fired.
Yeah, they just kept the necklace. After that, Ben's walking through like the halls that are empty and hears somebody from behind him ask for help, and it is Madison, who can't get her locker open. He uses her fucking hair clip to like unlock this fucking lock that is, I don't understand how that works. But she also then just tells him to keep it, which is fucking super weird.
You never know when I might need saving.
It's
And that,
like all like at this point on the second watch, I was like, I felt like all of this was she knew who this guy was well before, and all of it was just methodically planned out.
it is.
I mean, so she knew like who he was prior to going to the school.
I think so because later on in the movie when he like breaks into her place,
Yeah.
she has a box full of like articles and shit, which I assume because like the entire span of this movie takes place in 8 days. So like she had to have already like knew who he was and knew all of that stuff.
I assumed that like she just like, you know, went to like a library and like looked through old papers and got those. But I guess that kind of makes sense. But like, I don't know. That just makes it even crazier. After that, you get Ben working at the hospital and gives a patient, Mr. Tillman, a bunch of nudie playing cards. Mr. Tillman rules. Best character in this movie.
Easily.
Constantly just like asking him for Viagra and shit. What happens next? All I have written down is Madison background info.
After that, Ben goes to visit Amy at her job where like she's a waitress and she's like being a waitress, but for some reason she's like jumping on him and making out with him and shit. And then she's like, oh hey, if you once you go to swim school, like I'll change and I'll go to Berkeley instead so we can be together. And he's like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, because like, I think it's either right before that or right after that is Josh telling Ben all of like the dirt he heard on Madison. That's what the Madison background info is. Because he says some real gross shit about how he wants to hear her southern accent moaning his name later.
Yeah. And he's like, more like a restraining order.
Oh, solid burn. This movie has some terrible dialogue in it.
So bad.
My favorite things is coming up, actually.
After that, that's when you have Ben's just doing his homework at Amy's work when she like jumps on him to like make out, which I'm just like, dude, give her some fucking space.
Yeah.
She's at fucking work.
So
no, good.
She has like tables she's serving, and she's like, "Are you guys okay?" And they're like, "Yeah, I guess." And then she like runs and jumps on him. So I would have been like, "Ew, all right."
Well, she just does not care about her tips. Which I don't know why
she
would.
Gets all the tips she needs.
Everybody in this movie is rich as fuck, so I don't know why she even has a job.
Yeah, right. It's like she's got to have a waitressing job, but like her parents are just going to Jamaica. That seems weird.
Yeah, and like she's just able to just aimlessly be like, well, I just decided I'm gonna go to a different college because they all accepted me.
Yeah. Why not? Fuck it. Just choose whichever one.
Going to Rhode Island and going to Berkeley are like pretty different things.
Oh yeah. The next thing you have is Ben driving and sees some girl on the side of the road that he thinks is Madison and is like staring at her. And then Madison accidentally almost gets run over by him as she's just in the middle of the fucking road.
Yeah, accidentally.
Yeah. After watching this the second time, I'm just like, yeah, it's all like... Because the first time I was like, oh, this is whatever. Like, this is good, but, like, I didn't think too much about it. And now I'm just like, this is kind of crazy how well, like, this was plotted out and, like, insane that she was even able to accomplish, like, anything in this movie.
It's really good planning to be in the middle of the road right then.
Yeah.
Yeah, what if he just, like, crashed into her and she just, like, died, and then the movie...
It was just credits. That would have been amazing. He drops her off at home, and she says something about him being handy, and he's like, yep, I'm handy all over the place.
I'm handy all over the place.
Oh, line is so bad. Which, like, I realize it was supposed to be bad, but still. He notices after he, like, gets home that Madison left a notebook in her car, and he obviously, like a creep, opens and reads it. And it's all music notes from, I guess, her cello playing. But there's a BC initial on one of them for Ben Cronin.
Which, like, terrible last name also.
Yes. I forget what Amy's last name was. I feel like everybody in this movie, except for Madison, had just, like, a weird last name.
It was Miller.
I guess that's kind of normal. Bell is, like...
A lot better than Coach Simpkins.
Yeah, right. That guy has a last name for what reason? Because it's never said.
I also felt like I never heard them say, like, the friend Renee. I had to look up her name because I don't remember anyone saying it. Oh, actually, never mind. Somebody does.
Yeah, I don't... I feel like somebody had to at some point because she's just kind of in the background a lot, but...
Yeah.
So Ben decides to get all fancied up in his date clothes to drive this notebook to her house. And his mom gives him some shit about it, and he's like, I'll be back in 30 minutes. Which does not happen. Ben and Madison go to a diner, which seems to be where all of the kids were going in the early 2000s.
Love a diner.
Because that's what happened in The Rage Carrie 2. I feel like that happens in a bunch of movies around this time where they're just like, oh, where's the date in this obviously well-to-do town is going to, like, a fucking Greasy Spoon diner. They kind of are flirting a little bit back and forth, and Ben tells her that he had a history with drugs and went to juvie.
He had a history with jugs.
Well, I mean, who doesn't, though?
I mean,
whom amongst
true.
us?
Yeah.
True.
Amy was the reason he was able to get his life back on track, and tells her about Amy, and she's like, don't worry, I got, like, somebody waiting for me at home in New York.
Okay, but here's the thing. He's like, hey, I feel like I should tell you I have a girlfriend. And she's like, oh, is it serious? Why the fuck should that matter if it's serious or not?
That happens in all of those movies where it's just like, I have a girlfriend. We're like, how serious is it? But then again, at the same time, Michael Scott was like, BFD, engaged ain't married, so...
I mean, I think, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Michael Scott, always speaking the truth.
I mean, it worked out for him.
I mean, I feel like there's an alternate version of this where Ben and Madison end up together, and it just ends up being natural born killers.
Oh.
For some reason, after they, like, Ben's just like, oh, like, I should go home, blah, blah, blah. They decide that Madison wants to watch him swim.
She says, I'm not ready to say goodnight.
Yes, like, Ben deserves
like, well,
all of this.
Oh my god, okay, so when I first saw this movie, I was like, you know, the culture was different then, to be fair, but, like, I watched it, I was like, oh my god, this poor dude just made one mistake and this crazy-ass bitch ruined his life. And now as I'm watching it, I'm like, I don't feel bad for this guy at all. He meets this girl who, like, they say almost they have like barely any. They're just like, here's my secret. I play the cello, and he's like, I used to be in juvie. There's like that's the connection, right? And then all of a sudden he's just like, let's go pork in the pool, and then like that was his fault. Everything that happened, he did the wrong thing, and his life got ruined. And I don't feel bad for him anymore.
Can we talk about
like,
how fucking terrible it has to be to fuck in a chlorine pool? Like, that just seems horrendous to me.
Yeah, it does. Also, they're in like 8 feet of water.
Yeah, like I
watched it closely
if it was
today.
Dante, he would have been able to do it.
Because he's 8 feet tall.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. The whole thing, I was like, this isn't. Also, she gets in the water and she's like, be careful, I can't swim. And he's like, okay, let me take you into 8 feet deep water. Like.
Well, she does ask him to teach her to swim.
Yeah, that was a ploy.
Well, obviously. Yeah. Just feel like fucking in that pool. Really, even the idea that other people were just in that pool and probably also, I don't know, everything about it is just gross to me.
Like peeing and pooping. And
Public water is gross.
So like at least use a private pool. Like
yeah,
don't fuck in the public pool.
Either of their
it's
families,
already gross, and you're making it grosser for everyone.
Either of their families have a fucking pool because everybody in this town is rich as fuck apparently, just based on these giant fucking houses they all live in. Especially Madison's. Holy shit, that house is massive.
That's like a mansion.
Yeah. So they fuck in this gross pool. She makes Ben tell her that he loves her. Which,
his face is so he's like, the fuck? But then he does it anyway.
of course he did.
Just like a man.
Amy, after like all this, like Ben wakes up the next day and calls Ben about him not showing up at her work last night. So apparently he just goes to her work every night to do his homework. Oh, fucking high school.
He was like so taken aback that she was like, "We could go to the same school."
Yeah.
I like. Well, I mean, I don't even think he's like taken aback as much as he's just like fucked up from the night before and just uses that as like the excuse as to why he's like out of sorts.
Well, this was wasn't that before? Like, hadn't she already said that to him, and he was kind of like,
Yeah. Well, I think he was just like nervous because he was like, well, I didn't get in yet. And she's like, I know, but you will. And he's like, oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's also like super worried about the 18 fucking commitments he has going on.
Yeah, he's a big idiot.
Yes. I don't know why the fuck you're working at this hospital if you're trying to go to school on a swimming scholarship. Why the fuck are you working in the medical field?
I mean, I assume it's because his mom works there and she just like got him the job, but I still feel like I hope if I'm ever in a hospital, there's not some like fucking high school kid bringing me my medicine. That seems so like irresponsible.
I can't imagine that's a thing anywhere.
Please don't.
I really hope not.
On a job at a hospital. That's the worst place to get an idiot son a job.
So the next day, Ben gets to school and finds flowers like in the lock of his locker, and then a card from Amy. He goes to say thank you to Amy, and she's like, "Oh, are those flowers for me?" And at this point, he puts together they are from Madison, and he gives Amy the flowers anyway. Just like every movie, all of this, every single fucking thing that happens could easily have been solved by just telling the truth.
Right.
Weird. Strange concept. I don't like it.
Ben at swimming practice again. I think that's literally all he does. I don't think he goes to classes. Can't focus on his swimming. He keeps seeing like flashes of him and Madison fucking in the pool he's swimming in.
That he's like swallowing the water and shit now.
Ugh. I hate it. Um, the next thing is Amy's having a party at her house because her parents are out of town for a week. Ben shows up and Amy introduces him to Madison, and they pretend like they hadn't met before. Somebody comes up and says something to Ben about how his Jeep is blocking him in, so Amy's just like, oh, well, I'll go move it. Don't worry about it.
The guy says that he's going to make a video run. I'm like, what is he talking about?
Maybe,
what does that mean?
Maybe
they're having a party.
Blockbuster.
Maybe it was
Why?
Jamie Kennedy from Scream, and he's just got to watch movies during a party.
Pick up some movies.
Oh my god, I wish it was, though.
An awesome crossover. Madison is just like joke flirting with Ben. At some point, after he comes like out of a restroom, she kind of corners him and is just like, oh, do you have my panties? And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's like, oh, I think I left them in your Jeep. At this point, I feel like it has to have been at least 10 or 15 minutes. How it took Amy that long to get to his Jeep, don't understand.
Right.
But he goes hauling ass out there and stops her right before she gets in the car, and it's just like, oh, it's been acted funny. I'll do it. And finds Madison's panties in the Jeep and saves himself from getting caught one more time.
Phew.
Yeah. The next day, he is looking at the internet at swim news, because that was a thing.
Swim news.
Yeah, it's like a website for swimming, but she somehow messages him on it.
I assume, well, that I don't understand, but because I feel like in 2002, like, AIM probably had already existed. Like, I don't understand the technology that's being used here.
I don't either, because later when he logs into it, it's like, you have new emails.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
All of their messaging is saying emails, but it's like instant messaging. It's real weird.
Except for, like, when he types to her, his message doesn't pop up. It's just, like, her message, he replies, her message. Like,
oh, yeah.
It's very weird.
I wonder if there was a website at that time that was literally just about, like, high school swim meets. Because that would be real fucking creepy. Yeah, they're kind of messaging back and forth, and I can't remember what she says. I feel like it was something like, why haven't you called me, or some shit.
Yeah, she asks if he's, like, upset about the party, and then she's like, I don't think she knows about us, and he's just like, I'm doing my homework, and then she logs off.
Doing my swim meet research homework of other swim meets. Ben's swim coach, Coach Swimmington, or whatever the fuck his name was.
Why didn't they call him Coach Swimkins?
Oh my God, that would have been amazing.
Damn it. What a waste.
Swimstripper.
He's like talking to Ben about trying to get his time down, and like Ben's all stressed out. Starts getting pages from Madison.
Which, okay. Why does he have a beeper?
I mean, like, cell phones were around, but they were definitely not as, like, as popular as, like, they are now or whatever, but...
I don't remember anyone in my high school having a pager, though. Like, you either had a phone or you didn't have anything.
I feel like I didn't get a cell phone until maybe 2004, and I still think they were selling pagers around that time.
I think so.
I don't think they were, like... They obviously weren't super popular. Like, they were on their way out, but I'm pretty sure those were still, like, being sold.
I still wish I had a pager.
Same. I want a pager that you can just apparently just text message people on, like this dude's.
Yeah.
Swim coach, after he gets all these pages from Madison, is just like, hey, figure out what the fuck's going on with your girl, control your woman, get your swimming shit under control.
Be a man.
Yeah. Ben arrives home and hears two voices coming from the living room, and Madison is there to tell his mom happy birthday and give her flowers.
Real weird.
Yeah.
This is...
Oh, go ahead.
I think that, like, the plot in and the dialogue in this movie is sort of weird, but I think it's shot really well, and there's a lot of really cool scenes in it. And this is like one of them when he goes into the kitchen and is like talking to his mom, and he's like, "How long has she been here?" And then he goes back in, and she's just like standing there, like with a smile on her face, and it's so creepy.
Yeah, there's also something that kind of progresses throughout the movie that as she kind of like Madison snaps, she gets a blue tint anytime she's shown. Like there's interesting shot. Yeah, like there's a lot of interesting like cinematography in this movie. The only thing I don't like is like anytime that like she's kind of sitting there and like having those little like intense thoughts, and it just like does those quick cuts, and it'll say like the same thing a couple times in a row.
I like it.
I mean, it works, but it just I don't know. It drove me crazy because I was watching it with fucking subtitles.
Oh.
But I don't know. That's like my only kind of gripe with some of the shots in it, but that's like very tiny gripe. Madison's being intense, and Ben has to just be like, "Look, we're not dating. I have a girlfriend. I don't know what the fuck you think's going on." So she leaves, and you notice that his keys are missing. The next day, his mom yells at him because he didn't put the fucking club on the fucking steering wheel, because I forgot those things existed.
Right? And she's like, "I told you, you have to lock this car." And in their like super nice neighborhood, you have to put a boot on. Like, that's so weird to me.
Ben gets to school and gets on the computer, and this is when he has the 81 emails from Madison, which I'm guessing are all nudes, based on the one he opens. That in 2002 had to take so much time to fucking get on this computer.
Right.
So she had to... I'm going to guess that she has a Polaroid camera of some sort, because if not, she would have had to get this developed.
No, it was like in the picture. It was like a digital camera that she took a
digital
picture.
Cameras then? I guess they probably had cell phones with cameras at that point. That's probably when cell phone cameras were starting to like become big.
Well, so she took a picture in a mirror, and then she had to like upload that to her computer and then send it to him.
I was thinking she had to take the picture and then fucking get it developed and scanned into her fucking computer. I was like, that's a fucking commitment.
Yeah, I mean, either way, also because still she's messaging him on like a swim meet site, so like, it's weird.
I think that's just like a generic email. I think he was just looking at swim meet shit and then like has email up at the same time. But I do like that it loads, you know, it's pretending to be slow, but loads kind of fast for what it's trying to do. But then he can't fucking get the computer to turn off for shit when Amy jumps up and surprises him.
Amy pops up. She's like, "Gotcha!"
He's just smashing the keyboard, hoping a button will fucking turn it off.
I wish he like broke the computer screen.
That'd been awesome. He just punched the fucking computer screen. The next thing, I think, is Ben swimming again, and this is when he, like, comes up from the water and just sees Madison standing there with a fucking upskirt shot. Because she's getting ready to go on her date with Josh.
And he's like, "Oh my god."
He acts like it was, like, fucking, he just saw, like, a dead body when he looks up.
I mean...
fuck, what was, like, I know... Let's see, they go shit with Josh. Oh, I think it's the next thing when Amy's just like, "I know, like, you were freaked out because I said whatever about going to, like, the colleges near each other."
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a fucking heart-to-heart about where it's like the first, like, minute, she's making it sound like she knows that he cheated on her. Where he's like, I know the other night, and he's like, "Oh, you do?" That old trope.
Yeah, I feel like they do. That's the one, they do that multiple times, because like when she calls him the night after, she's like, "You are so busted," and he's like, "What?" And she's like, "You were supposed to come to the restaurant." And then when he's looking at the picture, she's like, "Gotcha." And then with this thing, I'm like, all right, can we not?
Yeah, I feel like that's a thing that happens in like all of these movies. God, my notes make no sense. Oh, so the next thing is like Madison, I think in the locker room maybe, or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, where she's just like, "Why are you ignoring me?" Because he's
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, you're going out with Josh. That's cool." And she's just like, "I don't want Josh. Like, I'm trying to fucking bang you in this pool again." And like they have like this back and forth to the point where he's like, I have no other way to say this but like just to be blunt, and he's like, I don't want you, I'm with Amy. And this is when she kind of fucking snaps, like for real. Ben is at work the next day and goes to give Mr. Tillman his pills, and he's like out of sorts or whatever, and as he's walking away, a code blue alarm goes off, and it's Mr. Tillman's room. He's apparently, the pills on his cart were switched around, and no one believes him, and he gets fired. This next scene is so weird. He goes fucking running through this empty school where apparently Madison is the only one there fucking practicing cello, and just chokes the shit out of her.
Rock music, like, blaring.
Oh, yeah, when he's, like, running. He just, like, hauls ass in there and just fucking throws her probably very expensive cello on the ground. And just chokes her and is like, she's like, oh, you didn't tell me you liked it rough.
Jesus.
And he's basically just like, you know, what's gonna happen is you're gonna fucking leave me alone, you're gonna leave Amy alone, you're gonna get out of my life, or I'll fucking kill you.
And your cello.
Yeah, I'll fucking run your cello over with my fucking cool Jeep. Ben comes to Amy's work after that and is trying to talk to her, but she's too busy, and he's like, okay, well, we'll talk in the morning. Before they get a chance to talk, Madison tells Amy about fucking Ben. So when he shows up to school the next day, she slaps the shit out of him, and like the worst slap I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was pretty shitty. Couldn't have been satisfying.
So bad. So Amy and Ben are now broken up. I think the swim meet is that day, and Ben's like getting ready, and like his mom shows up, and his friends are all there, and Madison's there, and then like the swim scouts are there, and right before he gets to swim, somebody comes up, talks to the coach, and Ben failed his drug test for steroids. He's kicked off the swim team. So now like his entire life is fucking ruined.
That's really not a lot of heads up on that. The drug testing.
I thought that was like weird timing too, but they had to have that scene, I guess, where he's like thinks that Josh like helped her so that he could win or whatever.
Yeah. Ben's mom, when he gets home, like confronts him about taking drugs again, and he's just like, you wouldn't believe me if I said no anyway. You get a scene of Josh and Madison making out. She calls him Ben a couple times, and Josh is just like, what the fuck? Puts it together that like Ben was right. And he goes like walking off, and she just starts screaming at him. She's just like, Josh, get back here, and then it just turns into Ben. It's real weird.
Yeah, then there's like this really loud music and like audio clips of like what they said to each other in the pool. So I thought that was sort of like a weird scene.
Yeah.
It went on really long.
Her yelling at him just goes on like way too long, and it's only like 10 seconds, but like she really only needed to yell at him maybe like twice instead of like 10 times.
Yeah.
Ben is swimming again and bumps into Josh's dead body in the pool after he takes like they show earlier in the movie that Josh has like a baseball bat in his locker that I'm guessing is maybe some kind of weird fucking good luck charm for the swim team.
Yeah, when I watched it through the first time, I was like, wait, isn't that Josh's bat? Because like earlier when he was talking to him, he was like stretching with it, and I was like, that's like, doesn't he think it's weird that Josh's bat is in his locker? But then when the detective asked him about it, he's like, the whole team's fingerprints are on it. So I guess it's like a weird team thing.
Yeah,
I don't know
I guess
anything.
maybe it could also be like a thing they use for stretching, but yeah. So Madison bludgeoned the shit out of Josh with this baseball bat and put it in Ben's locker. And the next day is... So you said this all takes place in like 8 days?
Yeah, because in the beginning when he was talking to Swimkins, he was like, for the next 8 days, I want you to sleep and eat and dream swimming.
Well, okay, so I'm guessing that means it's 8 days to the swim meet.
Right, so like at this point in the movie, it's been 8 days.
Because I was like, if this whole movie took place in 8 days, Josh's funeral got fucking kicked off so fast.
Well,
but yeah, Josh's funeral happens, and Ben is immediately talked to by a detective that I recognize from something, and I can't place where, and I meant to look it up earlier. That detective is in something. Now I gotta look it up.
Orange is the New Black.
That's what it is. He plays the he plays the warden in Orange is the New Black.
He's also in Law and Order.
I don't know if I've ever watched Law and Order enough, like other than like just random episodes when I had TV.
I don't recognize him from anything.
Yeah, this is definitely Orange is the New Black. As soon as you said that, like I put it together. But he's basically, I guess, knows Ben from his old criminal past of taking drugs and going to juvie for stealing something. And it's
Socks.
just like good, yeah. He's basically just like, like, are you going to arrest me? And he's like, not yet, but he's, as they say, don't leave town. The next thing is now Ben is fully aware that Madison's doing all this and breaks into her house while she's having a weird recital for a bunch of old women. And
yeah,
go ahead.
So strange. It's just weird to me that it's just like it goes from that scene to like he's in her house, and I was like, what happened?
I just like that, like, it almost just looks like her grandparents showed up and she's just gonna play cello for him. It's strange.
It's weird.
But he's like searching through her room and finds like the hospital jacket with like whatever badge on it, a bottle of steroids, a box of stuff about him, like all the paper clippings and fucking his swim goggles and shit.
And his like swim cap.
Yeah, it's gross. Right before she could get up there, like Dante catches Ben in there and helps him leave and gives him a box that he found. And Madison, like right as Ben is kind of like shoved out the fucking window, I guess, is just like, she comes busting in and she's like, you got anybody up here? And he's like, no. And she's like, yeah, that would mean you'd have to have some friends first.
Damn.
Ben gets to the car and like opens the box that Dante gave him, and it's essentially the same box she had on Ben, but about Jake, whatever his last name was.
Donnelly.
Is it Yeah, Donnelly. And who is the person that is waiting for her back in New York. Dante takes Ben to the city to find Jake, who is in a coma. All of his baseball shit still like in the room because Madison left it there. All the nurses are like, oh, Madison is such like a good girl. She wanted him to like wake up and come put on his Letterman jacket and come find her immediately. You kind of put together that Madison is the reason Jake is in this coma.
Yeah, when I first watched that, I thought that's what they were implying, but the more I watched it, I'm like, Are they implying that?
I think they're implying it. I think they could have done a better job of like
They're like,
stating
they were in a
something.
car accident. She was wearing her seatbelt and he wasn't. And I was like, so was this like, was it a legit accident and then she went crazy, or was she just like crazy the whole time?
I think that in a minute when like she gets videotaped or whatever, because her confessing in this videotape is barely a confession.
It's like nothing.
Yeah.
She doesn't. You like literally. She doesn't actually say anything that can. She would think. Come on.
Yeah, I think that like they should have had her like say something about like why Jake's in the coma or whatever. But yeah, it's real weird. And like while Ben is at like this fucking room with Jake in the coma, you get clips of Amy riding her like scooter home or to work. I forget which one. But Madison is in Ben's Jeep with a fucking baseball cap on and just runs her ass over. So now Ben gets a page from his mom at the hospital. It's like, Amy just got brought in. The police think you ran her over and are like, there's like an APB out after you. And like as the phone call like goes out and he needs to put more change in, he's trying to yell like, keep an eye on her. It's Madison. Like, she's going to come for Amy.
Here's the thing too about this scene though. His mom is like, we need to call you a lawyer. There's a witness that saw you. And I'm like, okay, but Ben has like 1,200 witnesses because he was like, Dante was with him, like all the nurses and stuff. So like,
yeah, I don't know why he wasn't immediately like, hey Dante, like obviously I've been with you this whole time, but at the same time, like if he's got a record already, the police are probably not going to buy his one witness. That like, I don't know. It's all of it makes no sense and probably could have been cleared up so quickly.
Man, if only he had a real phone and not a pay phone.
So Ben grabs Jake's fucking Letterman jacket and runs off. You have Madison at the hospital and like her doctor's uniform or nurse uniform or whatever, walking towards Amy's room with a scalpel, and like all of a sudden hears Jake's name called over the PA, and right as she gets to Amy's room she hears it again and goes like walking towards like whatever like nurse's desk that they're calling Jake to. As she gets near it, she sees like a guy in Jake's jacket and follows him. This drove me fucking crazy because it's absolutely like, I get it's supposed to be like what she's seeing, but it's absolutely a different person every time.
Yeah, it is very clearly not him.
Maybe Jake was also 8 feet tall.
I don't know how he's able to fit in that jacket.
Yeah, he would have hulked out of that jacket immediately. She eventually gets out to like a parking garage, and this person in Jake's jacket is getting into a car, and she's just like, is it you? And he turns around and pulls his cap off, and it's Dante.
Dun dun. What a twist.
She goes to stab Dante, and Ben stops her, and they have a fucking real weird back and forth that is apparently supposed to be her confessing to these crimes, which just she is not.
Which like doesn't make any sense because he kind of confesses. He's like, oh, they already think I killed this person and this person. Why does it matter if they think I tried to kill Amy? And all she says was, I did it for us. That's not... I mean, that's not really a confession.
I guess that could be like seen as one, but it's not really. Like, I don't know, it's weird.
If anything, I mean, it's being like video recorded, and it's him walking up behind her and like holding like a knife to her throat.
Yeah,
like,
that would be thrown out in court so fast.
It's just like, wow, okay, so you're just like assaulting a person. Like, this isn't gonna work for him at all.
Yeah,
he also is like threatening to kill her, so like,
yeah,
I don't know, man.
That would go to court, and they would just be like, it's a forced confession. Like she was scared for her life. It's real stupid.
Except for then she says, how stupid do you think I am?
Yeah. So Madison is now arrested. Ben is apparently off the hook from this
somehow
super like locked in confession they have.
Yeah, and the cop is just like, "Oh, we found a copy of the keys. I guess everything you said was true. The end."
Yeah. Credits. Madison is in a police car and is stopped at train tracks and is just able to. I have a lot of questions about like why both of these officers weren't in the front seat. Why one of them was sitting in the back seat with her makes zero fucking sense. But she grabs the cop's gun and shoots both of them.
That's like serious dedication to trying to fuck up a swimmer's life.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one thing to like hit some dude over the head with a bat and then like throw him in a pool, but like to take a gun and shoot two people that are like right next to you, it's like a kind of next level.
Oh, she's in love. Love makes you do crazy things.
I mean, true, I guess.
High school.
Yeah. Everybody's high school antics of killing cops. Ben, apparently Amy is staying at Ben's house because I'm guessing her parents are still out of town instead of staying in the fucking hospital.
She's alright.
Yeah, she only got ran over by a car. So Ben is there and like apologizes to her and says some shit about how like his dad cheated on his mom and.
It's the worst speech ever because he's like, I promised myself I wouldn't be like my dad, and if I found someone I loved, I would honor them, but I didn't think it would happen this early.
That was fucking...
What?
I heard that today, and I was like, wow.
And she's just like, okay, I forgive you, even though I almost got killed, and you cheated on me. Like, what is she getting out of this relationship?
Good D.
Apparently.
Gotta be.
She's gonna be fucking raking in those monies from Ben being a fucking professional swimmer for his life. Like that's not gonna run out when he's 25. So they are apparently back together. Somebody like rings the doorbell or like knocks on it. Ben goes to answer it and no one's out there, but there's like the police car out front. He goes back in and sees his mom knocked out, and then he gets knocked out with a fucking swimming trophy. When he wakes up, Amy is gone, and his mom's like still on the floor, but he just fucking wakes her up enough to the point where he's just like, I guess I could go.
This is weird too, because he wakes his mom up, then he calls 911, then he checks to see if Amy's there.
Yeah. So yeah, Amy's gone, and he gets a page as he's like driving, trying to find her, that just says "Feel like a dip." So he drives back to the high school. It gets into like the swimming pool area where like Madison's got Amy handcuffed to a chair and is like yelling at her. Obviously, he comes in on the complete opposite side of the swimming pool. She's yelling at him that like they're in love and no one will love her like love him like she does, and he says something which makes her angry, and he just pushes Amy in the chair into the pool.
And somehow, like, face planting in the pool knocks her out. Like, I get it would hurt, but she like immediately passes out.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even think about that. That she's just
I like definitely belly flopped before, and I didn't get knocked out.
I guess, I mean, I don't know. I maybe like not knowing it's happening and like being tied up to where her neck just like has to go back. I don't know. It's weird, but I'm sure this was like medically checked out before they did it to make sure it was possible. I'm sure they did that research.
I'm sure.
So Ben like dives in the pool and goes swimming after her and can't lift her out of this and the chair like out.
This is my favorite scene. I totally I remember the part about Madison pushing Amy into the pool, but I forgot about everything else that happens, and this is like one of my favorite things that's ever happened in a movie because it's so stupid.
So she starts fucking slapping at him with the fucking boat oar.
he's like under there like like flailing around, and she's just like screaming and like trying to stab, like hit him with a. It's so stupid.
My favorite thing though is like even when he's underwater, she's still slapping at him with this boat oar. It's not like she stops when he's underwater.
Right.
So he's like trying to come up for air, trying to like dodge this fucking boat oar that just happens to be next to the swimming pool for some reason. He eventually realizes that for some fucking reason he's got Madison's fucking hair clip from earlier in the movie.
Right, from like a month ago.
Yeah.
Wash your jeans, dude.
And he like uses that to unlock the handcuffs Amy has on and pulls her out of the water. And I think right like before he does that though, I think is when like he grabs the boat oar and pulls Madison in. And like
when he comes up with Amy, he does it.
Yeah. And so she can't swim, so she's like flailing around trying to like grab onto him, and he eventually like is able to swim away from her and like pulls Amy out of the pool and like gives her CPR as Madison drowns. So Madison's dead, saves Amy, and then you cut to a scene of Josh winning a swim meet and Ben coming out to the Jeep and him and Amy holding hands, and end of movie.
Josh is dead.
Oh, who was that? Who was the other guy then? Was that Randy?
I don't even think it was Randy.
It was just some
I don't know
dude.
who that was. Yeah, and my whole throughout the entire movie, except for the fact that it's Jason Ritter, I have no idea why Randy's even in the movie because he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like I didn't even think about it. Like I was just like, oh, that's just Josh. But I'm like, yeah, I guess he is dead.
It's zombie Josh wins the swim meet.
Who the fuck was that?
I don't know. Maybe it was Randy. It didn't look like him.
I feel like it
though.
has to. It just has to be. He was the only other person that was like on the swim team that fucking was even like named in the movie.
Yeah,
And like his
Randy's time to shine.
the like two competitors for him are both like off the team or dead. So
yeah,
it's wild that they don't let Ben back on the team after all of this shit is found out.
Yeah, and I guess I kind of assumed at the end, like, first of all, how long was he watching the swim meet? And Amy's just, like, in the car by herself. And then he gets in, and they're like, are you ready? And they drive off, and there's, like, butt rock playing. So, like, are we meant to think that they are going to school? Like, what is the ending? What happened?
She does not look happy, whatever the ending is.
Oh.
Okay, well, she shouldn't still be with him. Like,
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Like, I know you almost got me killed, like, 3 times.
I'm sure almost getting murdered changes your perspective, but, like, it's his fault.
Yeah.
Dump that idiot.
Dump his ass!
Especially now that he's not going to be making that sweet swim money.
That's right.
Yeah, that ending makes no sense. I need a sequel that's Madison coming back to life. Be like Bride of Chucky, but like Madison and Josh as Chucky and Tiffany. Yeah, that's a Swimfan. It is pretty good.
It is very good. You should watch it immediately. It's streaming on Hulu.
Oh, is it? I didn't realize it was streaming anyway.
Yeah. That's the only way I got to watch. Okay, so legit, I've been talking about Swimfan for like 2 years, right? Then you finally watched it like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Time means nothing to me right now. So a couple months ago, and then I wanted to do Swimfan, but I don't somehow own it, or it got lost or something. And so I didn't have a way to watch it. And then literally July, it started streaming for free on Hulu. And I was like, oh my God, this is a sign. And it's got this like beautiful poster on Hulu. It's pretty good.
I see it used like all the time now, where I'm guessing I probably did before, but just never paid attention to it. But now I see it like used constantly.
I did too until my intention was to go buy it, and then it was nowhere to be found.
That's usually how it works. I don't know, Kit, do you have anything you want to like shout out? I realized we didn't do it last week, or the like last episode we did.
Yeah, shit. I hadn't thought about it. We are out of practice.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first. I hadn't really thought about it, but I've been listening to this like really stupid podcast from Adam Scott from Parks and Recreation and Scott Aukerman from Comedy Bang Bang called "You Talking U2 to Me," where they just talk about the band U2 and then eventually just turns into like REM. But it's like super funny, and like half the time the episodes will be like 2 hours, and like it takes them like an hour and 40 minutes to even like get to either of the bands. It's pretty fucking funny. But yeah, listen to that. I think it's actually might be over now, but it's worth binging.
Sad.
But yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, I still got nothing. My brain is shit.
That's fine. Do you have any, Katie? You've been like listening to anything good or watching or?
I just started watching. I'm like way late to the game on this one, but I started watching The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, and it's really, really good. I normally when stuff like that comes out and everyone's like hyping it, I'm like, there's no way this thing is actually good, so I like don't get into it. And I just started watching it the other day, and I'm almost like done with it. I think it's only one season now, but it's really good and like fucked up, so you should watch it. Well, you don't have Netflix, but other people who have Netflix should definitely watch it.
I use Caitlin's Netflix, but I almost never look at it. I've actually been like I saw a lot of good like reviews and stuff of that. I was meant to check it out, but I got Key and Peele to watch.
Priorities.
Fucking McCringleberry, whatever the fucking football player Dave's is like my favorite thing of all time.
Quattro.
Yeah. Fuck it. Everybody just watch Key and Peele instead.
I'm pretty sure like one of the last podcasts I was on, you also brought up Crinkle Kraken and whatever.
Oh, it's fucking so good.
Well, I had some news that I had for if we were recording last week.
I didn't get like any time to look at any news the last couple weeks.
Well, the only thing is, like, a couple days before we were supposed to record last week, they dropped the trailer for the new Are You Afraid of the Dark miniseries.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yep.
Okay, so this is, like, a little weird because they announced that they were rebooting Are You Afraid of the Dark, that was, like, my favorite show when I was growing up. Like, lots of people really liked Goosebumps, and I liked Goosebumps. Like, I liked Goosebumps okay. I read the books or whatever, but Are You Afraid of the Dark was, like, my absolute favorite. And one of the episodes is still, like, one of the scariest things it's, like, freaks me out still to this day. So, no. The Dead Man Floats, the swimming pool.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's topical, swimming pools. So, I love it. I'm not really, like, as I've said multiple times, I'm not really a fan of reboots that much. But they announced that they were going to reboot it as a movie, and it was supposed to come out in October. But a bunch of shit happened. It's not coming out in October anymore. And now they're rebooting the series, and the reboot of the series is going to be, like, 3 episodes. It's just a mini-series, but that's actually supposed to come out in October of this year. And the kid who plays Ben, like Kid Ben from the It movie, is playing one of the kids. So that trailer's out. You can watch it. It's a little bit different from the show because they don't just like tell stories. I think the plot is like they're telling stories, but then this kind of like Goosebumps where like the story becomes real to them or something. I don't know, but
kind of sounds like what that Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark was just doing.
Right. And so
Yeah.
I was reading an article about Are You Afraid of the Dark, and whoever wrote the article was saying that they're really glad that they're rebooting the series because there's not really a lot of like horror things for kids nowadays. And I mean, it's kind of true because when we were growing up, we had like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, we had Goosebumps, we had, what was the other one? Fear Street or Scary
like the other
Town,
R.L. Stine one. I think it was Fear Street.
Yeah. And we had Are You Afraid of the Dark and all that stuff. And kids nowadays have like what? What do they have? Creepypasta?
The It reboot.
I mean,
People fucking
I mean,
kids love that
no.
for some reason. I don't know why they were allowed to watch it, but
I mean, to be fair, I think most of us were allowed. Like, I was watching Tales from the Crypt when I was definitely way too young to be watching it. But, so I agreed with her. I kind of think, I, the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark movie kind of seems like it's not actually for kids. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but
I don't like, other than seeing the trailer, I don't really know anything about it. I know people seem to like it, but I kind of have no real interest in seeing it.
I saw it last night. I thought it was pretty good.
Did you really?
I read the books, but like the books were never like a big thing for me, so it's just one of those things where I was just kind of like, whatever. If it comes to streaming, I'll watch it.
It's, I wouldn't say exactly for kids, but I could definitely see like younger, like, 13 through like high school, like that age bracket, like being into it, because it's definitely, it's not like Jesus Christ, this is scary. It's more that fun-ish kind of getting spooked, type scary.
Yeah.
But...
Okay. Here's a serious question. When you go to the movie theater, do they give you a pickle with your popcorn?
I don't remember the last time I've actually gotten popcorn at a movie theater, so I can't answer that question.
Okay.
The whole reference was lost on me.
No, I saw an article that said if you go, I don't know if you've said where you live on the podcast, so I'm not going to say it just in case, but I saw an article that said that's a thing, and I just want to know because I think that it's awesome.
Pretty sure we both have, but
I mean, anyone could Google it at this point, but
yeah, I mean, if you follow either of us on any of our social media, you know where we live. So, Kit lives in Monster Energy Drink Town.
I live inside of a Monster Energy can.
It's like I like.
I didn't realize it was a thing. Pickles with popcorn.
That's strange.
I saw pictures, but I don't know if it's real.
It's been at least 16 years since I've bought anything at a concession stand in a movie theater, so because
I mean, it costs like $25.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Did either of you guys watch the Pet Sematary remake?
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I hate
it. I mean, I don't totally, and I like the original one, but it's never been like a favorite of mine, so I wasn't super like concerned about the remake. I like John Lithgow in it, but it was just like, I'll probably never watch it again.
Okay, well, the original is one of my favorite movies. And I didn't hate it, but it was definitely weird, and Chris watched it with me. He's like really not into horror movies at all. I'm like shocked. Literally the only reason he watched it is because we moved into our new apartment and we didn't have internet, so I went to Redbox and I got it on Redbox. So it was the only thing we had to watch, so we had to watch it. And at the end of the movie he was like, is this what really happened? And I was like, fuck no. So I think it's definitely worth watching, but I don't know. I don't know that I would watch it again. It's interesting. They took a lot of liberties with it, at least. But I thought it was... I mean, they did add stuff from the book that's, like, not in the original movie, too, which I thought was... I mean, that seems to be, like, what they're doing with the It movie, too. So, I don't know. It was okay.
Did we ever talk about how they teased, like, some gross scene in the It movie? That, like, everybody was just like, uh-oh.
I don't think so. You and I talked about it for like 12 hours, but I don't think you guys. I don't think you talked about it on the podcast.
I feel like that may have been like when we were both on vacation.
I think so.
I hope that's not what it's gonna be.
Nah, it better be the leper guy telling Eddie he'll give him a blowjob for 10 cents.
I know Kit and I texted about it, and I think Kit had brought up that it could just end up being like a more over-the-top version of like Tom and Beverly's fight, or like maybe they just go straight into like sexual assault shit with her. But,
That's sort of like what I was thinking. Either way, I'm gonna go in cringing.
yeah.
Yeah.
When does that come? That comes out soon, doesn't it?
What, 3 weeks, a month, something like
We're
that?
gonna have to all go,
I think a month.
go see it and record an episode on it.
Hell yeah.
I feel like there was something after. Oh, have you ever I think we tried. Caitlin and I were like talking about Are You Afraid of the Dark like a couple weeks ago, and we were trying to find it on DVD, and it's just like unavailable on DVD unless you live in like Europe, which is annoying. But they're
That's
like,
weird.
apparently Nickelodeon is just like rebooting all of that shit, where there's like a new All That. They just brought back like that Rocko's Modern Life special.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday.
I haven't watched it yet. I've seen it get like a lot of good, like people saying it was good, but I haven't watched it yet. I think it's interesting that Nickelodeon's bringing back like all of this shit from when we were like 13.
I mean, that's the name of the game right now.
I need a Hey Dude reunion.
Oh my
Now we're
god,
talking.
yes.
Hey Dude and Salute Your
Salute Your
Shorts.
Short.
Salute Your Shorts,
Yes.
yep.
Pete and Pete.
Fuck,
Yes.
I would just take them
I'd be so in for
releasing
Pete and
the
Pete.
fucking rest of Pete and Pete on DVD at this point. Instead of just doing like one part of it and then just never going back to release the rest of it.
Yeah, all that's weird. Are You Afraid of the Dark was streaming on some when I very, very first moved to Richmond, it was streaming on something and I watched it, but it wasn't even like all of it either, so I don't really know. Like maybe since they had so many like child actors that turned out to be like prominent actors, maybe there's like rights problems with it. I don't know. It just seems like all that stuff is really hard to find.
Yeah, Nickelodeon doesn't seem to release anything from those periods. I don't know. They've been like kind of like, I know like you could buy like all of Hey Dude. You can get like all of Alex Mack. Like you can get like a bunch of that stuff, but like some of it's just like, I think like on Amazon you can get like burnt DVD copies like through Amazon of Are You Afraid of the Dark? But like I'm not spending fucking $30 on like a burnt DVR.
That's so weird.
Yeah. And then like the only
Have commercials in it.
Oh, it'd be amazing. I would watch the shit out of that with like commercials from like 1994 for like fucking
It's like, hey, get your gag.
yeah, and pagers and
Moon shoes. Or was that Disney? That was
no, I
Nickelodeon,
think
right?
they were like game shows that gave away moon shoes.
I still want some.
I feel like there was another news thing I was gonna bring up, but I don't remember. My brain is fried right now. All right. I think next week we're doing Night of the Dribbler.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
It's gonna be awful.
Yeah, we're
I feel it.
recording like 2 episodes next week with Richard from Bad Rad Movies, where we're doing 1 episode for his podcast and 1 for ours. I think that'll be the next episode, which will be Night of the Dribbler, which looks amazing. I think after that is Humanoids from the Deep, which is going to be ridiculous to talk about.
It's got a good poster.
It's a movie about weird like creatures that come out of the ocean to fuck women to breed.
So men?
Basically, yes. Somehow does not have Roddy Piper in it, even though it should.
Very sad.
But yeah, it'll be the next 2 weeks, and I don't know, something after that. I feel like if it comes out that soon, we'll probably do an episode on it. Chapter 2. Yeah, I don't know. Thanks for being on again, Katey, on a
Yeah,
Thanks for
thank you.
having me.
non-Stephen King episode.
I know, I feel like I'm out of my little niche
We
here.
need to do like a 6-hour episode on Salem's Lot.
Oh
Oh
god.
my god, yes. I reread that recently. But I can't. Oh, I did, but Target has a collection of Stephen King movies that you can get, and it's like $18, and I'm like working my way through that, and I'm about to watch The Stand, which I think they're also remaking.
Yeah, they are.
soon.
They're remaking all of it. Like, after It was so successful, and Pet Sematary, like, didn't get great reviews, but I think profitably did pretty well. I think they're just gonna start doing all of them again.
I mean, some of them were not great, so
I mean,
they
most of them were not
hopefully
great.
hopefully they just can go up from there, but we'll see. I might have to start a podcast on Stephen King remakes.
I mean, just do all of them. By the time you would get to the remakes of just doing the original Stephen King movies, there would already be like another 50
12 new
episodes
ones.
worth of remakes. I need
right.
a Maximum Overdrive remake as soon as possible, or Thinner. Can you imagine
Silver Bullet.
Can you imagine Thinner being made like right now? I don't even know how they would do that.
I hope that they don't.
Oh, they should just do all of them. All right. Thanks, Katey.
You're welcome.
You will be back for It Chapter 2, and then probably more stuff after that.
Okay.
All the remakes.
Yes. All right.
Have you
Go ahead.
have either of you guys seen 13 Ghosts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I want to do that.
Almost positive. I think Kit likes that movie, or maybe I'm thinking of Ghost Ship.
I
like
love it. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's actually perceived to people who like good movies. So like
that's a movie that was like, I'm pretty sure was just like, everybody was like, this movie is fucking garbage, but like a lot of those movies, people are coming around to them because like
it's really good, and it has like a really deep backstory to it, which I feel like a lot of movies don't. And I just did a painting of one of the characters today, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, follow Katey on Instagram and I don't know, buy artwork from her.
Yeah, you should do that because I need to buy bread.
Yeah. At Werewolf Face. She did our logo, which everybody seems to like, so pay her to make logos for whatever you're doing. Just a logo for your everyday life.
Yeah, there you go. For your journal.
Yeah.
I like it.
Got a live journal, she'll make you a logo.
Oh, hell yeah. I know how to make a 100 by 100 little Sprite.
LiveJournal is now owned by like the Russian government and is pretty much just used as Russian propaganda now. It is very strange.
Great. They're going to know I hated my parents in high school now. I'm just kidding.
All right. I hope you suffer, but why?
But why?